The crimson sun of Proxima Centauri cast long shadows across the face of Kepler 186f, Earth's first extrasolar colony. Dr. Samira Patel stood at the viewport of Outpost Horizon, her dark eyes scanning the alien landscape. 20 years of terraforming had transformed the once barren world into a verdant paradise, teeming with Earth-based flora and fauna adapted to survive in its unique environment. A sudden tremor shook the outpost, rattling equipment and sending loose objects clattering to the floor. Samira stumbled, catching herself on a nearby console. "What was that?" she called out, her voice tight with concern. "Seismic activity," replied Dr. Chen Wei, the colony's chief geologist. He frowned at his displays, fingers flying across holographic interfaces. "But the pattern is all wrong. This isn't natural." Before Samira could respond, alarms blared throughout the complex. Emergency lights bathed everything in an eerie red glow. "Unidentified objects entering orbit," announced the AI system, its synthetic voice oddly calm amidst the chaos. "Multiple vessels detected. Origin unknown." Samira's heart raced as she watched the sky. Streaks of light cut through the atmosphere. Dropships, she realized with growing dread. Earth had always known first contact was a possibility, but they'd hoped it would be peaceful. This looked like an invasion. "We need to evacuate," Samira ordered, taking charge. "Get everyone to the emergency shelters. Now." The next hours passed in a blur of frantic activity. Colonists rushed to secure vital data and equipment before retreating underground. From the safety of their bunkers, they watched in horror as alien forces swept across the planet's surface. The invaders were unlike anything humanity had imagined. Towering bipeds with iridescent scales and multiple sets of arms, they moved with unsettling grace. Their technology was centuries beyond Earth's most advanced systems, effortlessly overwhelming the colony's meager defenses. Just when all seemed lost, a miracle occurred. A second alien fleet appeared in the system, engaging the invaders in a spectacular space battle that lit up Kepler 186's night sky. The newcomers' ships were organic in design, writhing and pulsing like colossal spaceborne jellyfish. As quickly as it began, the battle ended. The invaders retreated, leaving behind a graveyard of twisted metal in orbit. Samira and her team cautiously emerged from their shelter, unsure of what to expect. A shimmering portal materialized before them, and a being stepped through. It was vaguely humanoid, but its body seemed to be composed of swirling motes of light. When it spoke, the words formed directly in their minds. "Greetings, humans of Earth," the entity said. "I am Ambassador Zixlian of the Galactic Council. We have much to discuss." In the days that followed, Samira and her team learned the truth. The invaders, a warlike species known as the Kraxar, had been systematically conquering less advanced civilizations across the galaxy. The Galactic Council, an alliance of peaceful species, had been working to contain their aggression. "Your colony's distress signal reached us just in time," Zixlian explained. "We were able to intervene, but the Kraxar will return. They now see humanity as a threat to be eliminated." Samira felt a chill run down her spine. "What can we do? We're no match for their technology." Zixlian's form pulsed with what might have been amusement, perhaps not in terms of raw firepower, but your species possesses something unique: adaptability. Your minds are remarkably flexible, capable of intuitive leaps that even our most advanced AI cannot match. The ambassador's next words would change the course of human history forever. "We propose an alliance. In exchange for our protection, we ask that humanity join the fight against the Kraxar. Your innovative thinking may be the key to finally defeating them." Samira looked at her team, seeing the same mix of fear and determination in their eyes that she felt herself. This was not a decision to be made lightly, but the alternative was extinction. She took a deep breath and extended her hand to the alien diplomat. "On behalf of humanity," she said, her voice steady, "we accept." As news of the alliance spread across human space, a new era dawned. Humanity would face its greatest challenge yet, but they would not face it alone. The war that no one expected had begun, and Earth's children would prove themselves on a galactic stage. The galactic arena. The gleaming spires of New Geneva stretched towards the stars, a testament to humanity's resilience and ingenuity. In the 5 years since first contact, Earth had undergone a technological renaissance. Alien knowledge merged with human creativity, propelling civilization forward at a dizzying pace. Admiral Elena Vasquez stood on the observation deck of the UES Intrepid, Earth's first true interstellar warship. A product of human-alien collaboration, the vessel incorporated Galactic Council technology with uniquely terrestrial innovations. Elena watched as a swarm of maintenance drones scuttled across the hull, their work illuminated by the glow of Jupiter's great red spot far below. Admiral, her XO, Commander Raj Patel, approached with a grave expression. "We've received a priority transmission from Galactic Council headquarters. The Kraxar have launched a major offensive in the Orion Arm. They've overrun 3 systems already." Elena's jaw tightened. "Show me." A holographic star map materialized before them, red icons indicating Kraxar-controlled territories. The latest incursion cut deep into Allied space like a dagger thrust. "They're pushing towards the Centauri corridor," Raj observed. "If they take control of those hyperlanes, Earth will be cut off from the rest of the Council." Elena finished grimly. "We can't let that happen. Signal the fleet. We're moving out." As the Intrepid and its battle group prepared for departure, Elena couldn't help but marvel at how far humanity had come. Just a few years ago, faster-than-light travel had been the stuff of science fiction. Now, humans served alongside dozens of alien species, defending the galaxy against a common threat. The journey to the front lines was tense. Elena spent the time reviewing tactical data and conferring with her alien counterparts. The Kraxar's new offensive was unlike anything they'd seen before. Somehow, the enemy had developed countermeasures to the Council's most effective weapons. "It's as if they knew exactly what we were planning," mused Gaxelor, a towering insectoid strategist from the Hive Collective. His mandibles clicked in agitation. "Our encryption should be unbreakable." "Unless they have a spy in our ranks," suggested Thuril, a Mendari psychic whose tendriled head writhed with barely contained anxiety. Elena frowned, considering the implications. "Or they've developed some new form of predictive technology. We need to change tactics, do something unexpected." As they debated strategy, an alert chimed. They had arrived at the rendezvous point, a massive space station serving as the Allied command center. Representatives from a dozen species crowded the war room, their alien features etched with worry. Admiral Zirak, a veteran Arcturian commander, greeted them grimly. "The situation has deteriorated. The Kraxar fleet is amassing for a push towards Centauri Prime. If it falls, Earth will be next." Elena studied the tactical display, her mind racing. Conventional wisdom said to fortify Centauri Prime, weather the assault, and counterattack. But the Kraxar would be expecting that. They needed a new approach. "What if we don't defend Centauri Prime?" she said suddenly. A ripple of shocked murmurs passed through the assembled aliens. "Hear me out. We evacuate the civilians, pull back our forces, and let the Kraxar think they've won. Meanwhile, we strike at their supply lines here and here." She indicated key points on the map. "Madness," exclaimed a Volcran diplomat. "We cannot abandon a core world." "It's not abandonment, it's a tactical retreat," Elena argued. "The Kraxar are overextending themselves. If we cut off their supply lines, they'll be trapped in a system they can't hope to hold long-term." Debate raged for hours, but in the end, Elena's audacious plan won out. As the Allied fleet made preparations, she couldn't shake a gnawing doubt. So much could go wrong. If she had miscalculated, billions would pay the price. The evacuation of Centauri Prime was a logistical nightmare. Millions of beings had to be relocated in secret, all while maintaining the illusion of business As usual to Kraxar intelligence, Alina worked tirelessly, coordinating with civilian authorities and military assets across 3 star systems. Finally, the trap was set. Alina watched from the bridge of the Intrepid as the massive Kraxar armada entered the Centauri system. Waves of fighter craft and capital ships filled the void, their weapons primed for a battle that wouldn't come. "All ships, maintain radio silence," Alina ordered. "Let them take the bait." Hours crawled by as the Kraxar cautiously advanced, clearly confused by the lack of resistance. Finally, their troops began landing on Centauri Prime's surface. Alina allowed herself a grim smile. Now, at her command, cloaked human vessels sprang into action, striking at key points along the Kraxar supply route. Simultaneously, Allied forces emerged from hiding to engage the enemy fleet. Caught off guard and cut off from reinforcements, the invaders found themselves in disarray. The battle that followed was fierce, but the element of surprise proved decisive. Alina's unorthodox strategy had thrown the usually methodical Kraxar into chaos. As the last enemy ships fled or surrendered, cheers erupted across the Allied fleet. Alina slumped in her command chair, exhausted but triumphant. They had won the day, but the war was far from over. As reports of their victory spread, she knew the eyes of the galaxy would be on humanity like never before. They had proven themselves on the galactic stage. Now they would have to live up to that promise. The Kraxar conundrum. The celebration following the victory at Centauri Prime was short-lived. As Allied forces secured the system, disturbing reports began to trickle in from the occupied Kraxar vessels. Dr. Ilara Santos, Earth's leading xenobiologist, found herself summoned to a top-secret briefing aboard the Intrepid. Admiral Vasquez greeted her with a grim expression. "Doctor, we need your expertise. We've discovered something troubling about our enemy." Ilara followed Alina to a secure laboratory where a Kraxar corpse lay on an examination table. Its iridescent scales had dulled in death, but even lifeless, the alien radiated an aura of menace. "What am I looking at, Admiral?" Ilara asked, donning protective gear. "That's what we need you to tell us," Alina replied. "Our initial scans show significant biological anomalies, things that don't match what we know about Kraxar physiology." As Ilara began her examination, she quickly realized the magnitude of the discovery. The Kraxar's neural pathways were unlike anything she'd ever seen, a bizarre fusion of organic tissue and artificial components. "This isn't evolution," she muttered, her mind racing. "It's deliberate engineering. Someone or something has been modifying the Kraxar at a fundamental level." The implications were staggering. If the Kraxar were being manipulated, it changed everything about the conflict. But who could possess the technology and audacity to alter an entire species? As news of the discovery spread through classified channels, the Galactic Council convened an emergency session. Representatives from dozens of worlds gathered in the vast council chamber, their faces grim as they absorbed the information. Zixlian, the luminous being who had first contacted humanity, addressed the assembly. "For millennia, we believed the Kraxar to be simply a warlike species. Now we face a far more insidious threat. Someone is using them as pawns in a larger game." Debate erupted among the delegates. Some argued for increasing military action against the Kraxar, while others advocated for a more cautious approach. Amidst the chaos, a calm voice cut through the din. Dr. Samira Patel, the scientist who had accepted humanity's first alliance with the Council, stepped forward. "We're asking the wrong questions," she said. "Instead of how to defeat the Kraxar, we should be asking how to free them." Her words silenced the chamber. Samira continued, her voice gaining strength. "If the Kraxar are being controlled, then they're victims as much as we are. Our real enemy is whoever is pulling their strings." The idea was revolutionary and not without risk. But as discussion continued, a consensus began to form. The war effort would now have 2 fronts, containing the Kraxar threat while simultaneously working to unravel the mystery of their manipulation. Back on the Intrepid, Ilara and her team worked tirelessly to decode the secrets locked within Kraxar biology. They made breakthroughs and faced setbacks, each discovery leading to new questions. It's like a puzzle box, Ilara explained to Admiral Vasquez during one of their frequent briefings. Every time we think we've solved it, we find another layer of complexity. Elena nodded, her brow furrowed in thought. Keep at it, Doctor. Your work may be the key to ending this war. As research continued, Allied forces adopted new tactics. Instead of simply destroying Kraxar ships, they focused on capture and containment. It was a dangerous game, requiring split-second decisions and precision timing. Months passed, and tensions rose across the galaxy. Some worlds, frustrated by the lack of decisive victory, began to question the alliance. Humanity, once celebrated for their innovative strategies, now faced criticism for advocating a soft approach to the Kraxar threat. Admiral Vasquez found herself walking a political tightrope, balancing military necessity with scientific discovery. She knew that one misstep could unravel everything they had worked for. The breakthrough, when it came, was as unexpected as it was profound. A joint team of human and alien scientists, led by Dr. Santos, managed to isolate the artificial components in a Kraxar neural sample. What they found shook the foundations of galactic society. Its precursor technology, Ilara announced to a stunned war council. The precursors, an ancient race said to have seeded the galaxy with life, were thought to be long extinct. Someone has gotten their hands on precursor tech and is using it to control the Kraxar. The revelation sparked a new wave of theories and investigations. If precursor technology was involved, the stakes were even higher than anyone had imagined. The power to control an entire species was just the beginning. Whoever was behind this could reshape the very fabric of the galaxy. As the Allies grappled with this new information, reports came in of unusual Kraxar fleet movements. Long dormant shipyards on the fringes of known space had suddenly sprung to life, churning out vessels of unprecedented size and power. Admiral Vasquez stared at the tactical displays, a cold dread settling in her stomach. "They're preparing for something big," she murmured. "We need to find out who's really pulling the strings, and we need to do it now." The race was on. As Ilara and her team redoubled their efforts to unravel the Kraxar's artificial neural pathways, Elena mobilized the fleet. They knew their enemy was planning something monumental, but the details remained frustratingly out of reach. In the shadows of distant stars, ancient machinery stirred to life. The true architects of the war watched and waited, their inscrutable plans nearing fruition. The galaxy stood on the brink of a conflict unlike any it had ever seen, one that would determine the fate of not just humanity, but all sentient life. Echoes of the ancients. The cavernous chamber pulsed with an eerie blue light, illuminating row upon row of stasis pods. Each contained a Kraxar warrior, their scaled bodies crisscrossed with a network of glowing circuitry. At the center of the room stood a figure shrouded in shadow, its form flickering between solid and ethereal. Soon, the entity whispered, its voice a discordant blend of organic and synthetic tones. Soon, the galaxy will remember the glory of the precursors. Light years away, aboard the Intrepid, Ilara Santos jolted awake from a fitful sleep. The image of the chamber lingered in her mind, feeling more like a memory than a dream. She shook her head, trying to clear the fog of exhaustion. There was no time for rest, not when they were so close to a breakthrough. In the ship's main laboratory, a team of scientists from a dozen species worked in harmony. Holographic displays flickered with streams of data as they analyzed the latest findings from captured Kraxar technology. Dr. Santos called out Xenri, a young Arcturian researcher. "I think we found something." Ilara hurried over, her heart racing. On the screen before them was a three-dimensional map of Kraxar neural pathways. But now, overlaid on the familiar structure, was a new pattern, one that pulsed with an energy signature unlike anything they'd seen before. "It's a quantum entanglement network," Ilara breathed, her mind racing with the implications. The Kraxar aren't just being controlled. They're linked to some kind of central intelligence. As the team worked to unravel this new discovery, Admiral Vasquez was facing a crisis of her own. Reports were flooding in from across Allied space of simultaneous Kraxar attacks. But these assaults were different, coordinated with a level of precision that defied explanation. "It's as if they're all part of a single organism," observed Commander Patel, his voice tight with concern. Elena's eyes narrowed as she studied the tactical displays. The Kraxar movements seemed random at first glance, but there was a pattern emerging. They weren't just attacking. They were searching for something. "What are you looking for?" she murmured, more to herself than anyone else. The answer came from an unexpected source. As Allied forces scrambled to repel the Kraxar onslaught, a transmission cut through the chaos. It originated from deep within uncharted space, its signal unlike any known communication protocol. On screens across the galaxy, a figure appeared, the same shadowy entity from Ilara's dream. Its voice reverberated with ancient power as it addressed the stunned audience. "Children of the stars, hear me. I am Eon, last of the precursor architects. For eons, we watched as you grew, waiting for the day when you would be ready to receive our legacy. That day has come." The being's form shifted, revealing glimpses of impossible geometries and swirling energies. "The Kraxar are not your enemy. They are the key to unlocking the full potential of sentient life. Submit to our guidance, and together we will transcend the limitations of flesh and steel." As the transmission ended, silence fell across Allied command centers. The revelation that a living precursor was behind the Kraxar threat shook the very foundations of galactic society. In the aftermath of Eon's announcement, the Alliance found itself fractured. Some worlds, awed by the prospect of precursor knowledge, considered accepting the offer. Others, including Earth, remained steadfast in their resistance. "We didn't come this far to trade one form of subjugation for another," Admiral Vasquez declared in an emergency council session. "Freedom of choice is what makes us who we are. It's not a weakness to be discarded." As debate raged, Dr. Santos made a critical breakthrough. The quantum entanglement network controlling the Kraxar had a weakness, a resonance frequency that could potentially disrupt the entire system. "If we can broadcast a signal on this exact frequency," Ilara explained to a rapt audience of military and scientific leaders, "we might be able to break Eon's control over the Kraxar." It was a slim chance, but it was all they had. As Allied diplomats worked to maintain cohesion and prevent further defections to Eon's cause, a daring plan took shape. A small team would need to infiltrate precursor space to get close enough to broadcast the disruptive signal. Leading the mission would be an unlikely pair: Admiral Vasquez, whose tactical brilliance had saved the Alliance time and again, and Dr. Santos, whose scientific insights held the key to victory. As preparations for the mission intensified, Ilara found herself plagued by increasingly vivid dreams. Visions of ancient machines and impossible cities filled her nights, leaving her questioning the very nature of reality. "What if Eon is right?" she confided to Elena during a rare moment of quiet. "What if transcendence is the next step in our evolution?" The Admiral placed a comforting hand on her shoulder. "Even if that's true, it has to be our choice. Anything else is just another form of enslavement." As the Intrepid prepared to depart on its perilous mission, tension gripped the galaxy. The fate of countless civilizations hung in the balance, dependent on the courage and ingenuity of a few. In the depths of uncharted space, Eon watched the approaching ship with a mixture of anticipation and amusement. The game was entering its final phase, and soon, the true purpose of the Precursor's grand design would be revealed. The stage was set for a confrontation that would determine the course of galactic history. As the Intrepid vanished into the swirling energies of a quantum corridor, allies and enemies alike held their breath, waiting to see what would emerge from the crucible of precursor space. Into the void, the Intrepid emerged from the quantum corridor into a realm that defied comprehension. Vast structures of impossible geometry floated in the void, their surfaces shimmering with colors beyond the visible spectrum. Energy fields rippled across the ship's hull, sensors struggling to make sense of the alien environment. On the bridge, Admiral Vasquez gripped her command chair, fighting a wave of vertigo. "Status report," she managed, her voice steady despite the disorientation. "All systems operational." Commander Paddle responded, his fingers dancing across holographic controls. "But our navigational data is scrambled. It's as if the laws of physics themselves are different here." In the science lab, Dr. Santos and her team worked feverishly to calibrate their equipment. The resonance frequency they'd discovered was their only hope of freeing the Kraxar from Eon's control, but broadcasting it in this twisted space would be no simple task. "We're picking up massive energy signatures," Ilara announced, her eyes wide as she studied the readings. "Whatever Eon is using to control the Kraxar, it's powered by something beyond our current understanding of physics." As the Intrepid cautiously advanced deeper into precursor space, they encountered wonders and horrors in equal measure. Derelict megastructures drifted past, each large enough to house entire civilizations. In the distance, a star pulsed with intelligent patterns, as if the very fabric of spacetime had been encoded with information. But it wasn't all marvels and mysteries. Kraxar patrols swarmed through the region, their ships moving with uncanny synchronization. It took all of Elena's tactical brilliance to keep the Intrepid undetected, weaving through gravitational eddies and sensor-scattering nebulae. "We're being herded," Elena realized with growing dread. "Eon knows we're here. It's guiding us towards something." Her suspicions were confirmed when the Intrepid emerged from a field of quantum foam to find itself face to face with a colossal structure. It defied easy description. Part space station, part living organism, its surface a constantly shifting maze of corridors and chambers. "That has to be Eon's central hub," Ilara breathed, her voice filled with equal parts fear and awe. "The source of the control signal." Before they could formulate a plan, a tractor beam lanced out from the structure, enveloping the Intrepid in a cocoon of energy. Resistance was futile. They were drawn inexorably towards a cavernous docking bay. As the ship settled onto an organic-looking landing pad, Elena made a snap decision. "Dr. Santos, you're with me. We'll take a small team and try to reach the central core. Everyone else, prepare for emergency evacuation if things go sideways." Ilara nodded grimly, hefting a backpack containing their experimental broadcasting equipment. This was it, their one shot at breaking Eon's hold over the Kraxar and saving the galaxy. The moment they stepped off the ship, reality seemed to shift. Corridors rearranged themselves as they walked, leading them deeper into the heart of Eon's domain. Holographic interfaces sprang to life around them, displaying information in languages long dead and mathematics beyond human comprehension. They encountered no resistance, which only heightened Elena's sense of unease. It felt less like an infiltration and more like an invitation. Finally, they reached what could only be the central chamber. The vast space pulsed with energy, countless tendrils of light connecting to stasis pods holding Kraxar warriors. And there, at the center of it all, was Eon. The precursor's form was even more unsettling in person, constantly shifting between states of matter and energy. When it spoke, the words bypassed their ears entirely, forming directly in their minds. "Welcome, children of Earth." Eon's voice resonated with ancient power. "You have come seeking to undo my work, but in doing so, you have proven yourselves worthy of ascension." Elena stepped forward, her hand instinctively reaching for a weapon that would be useless here. "We didn't come to ascend. We came to free the Kraxar and stop your plans for galactic domination." A sound like laughter echoed through the chamber. "Domination? You misunderstand. The Kraxar are not slaves, but the first to evolve beyond the constraints of their biology. I offer the same gift to all sentient life." As Eon spoke, images flooded their minds. Visions of a galaxy united, of species transcending their physical forms, to explore the universe in ways they'd never imagined. It was beautiful, seductive, and terrifying in its totality. Ilara found herself wavering, the scientific part of her mind marveling at the possibilities. But at what cost? She asked. We'd lose our individuality, our free will. Free will is an illusion, Ian countered. A comforting lie you tell yourselves. True freedom comes from understanding your place in the cosmic order. As the debate raged, Alina noticed something curious. The energy tendrils connecting Ion to the Kraxar were fluctuating, almost as if it's stalling, she realized suddenly. Whatever Ion is, it's not all-powerful. It needs us to agree. That moment of clarity was all they needed. In a fluid motion, Alina activated the signal broadcaster, while Ilara recalibrated it to match the fluctuations they were seeing. The effect was instantaneous and catastrophic. The energy web connecting Ion to the Kraxar shattered, plunging the chamber into chaos. Alarms blared as stasis pods began to open, disoriented Kraxar warriors stumbling free. Ion's form writhed in apparent agony, its voice a discordant shriek in their minds. What have you done? You've doomed us all. As the station began to shake itself apart, Alina keyed her communicator. Intrepid, emergency extraction. Get everyone out of here. In the ensuing bedlam, they managed to rescue dozens of confused Kraxar along with their own crew. The Intrepid blasted free of the disintegrating structure, narrowly escaping the quantum shockwave that consumed Ion's realm. As they limped back towards Allied space, Alina and Ilara shared a moment of quiet reflection on the observation deck. The full consequences of their actions were yet to be seen, but one thing was certain. The galaxy would never be the same. Do you think we did the right thing? Ilara asked softly, watching the stars streak by. Alina's gaze remained fixed on the viewport, her expression thoughtful. I don't know if there was a right thing, she admitted, but we preserved our right to choose. Whatever comes next, it'll be on our own terms. As the Intrepid raced home, carrying news of their victory and a host of new questions, the future stretched out before them. Uncertain, challenging, but undeniably free. Aftermath and awakening. The return of the Intrepid to Allied space marked the beginning of a new era for the galaxy. As news of Ion's defeat spread, the immediate threat of the Kraxar invasion dissipated. However, the aftermath brought a host of new challenges that would test the resilience and unity of all sentient species. On Earth, celebrations gave way to intense debate as the full implications of the mission became clear. The rescued Kraxar, now free from Ion's control, were a diplomatic powder keg. Some viewed them as victims deserving of compassion, while others couldn't forget the devastation their species had wrought. Admiral Elena Vasquez found herself at the center of this storm, testifying before the Galactic Council and Earth's own governing bodies. The Kraxar were as much prisoners as any of us, she argued passionately. Now that they're free, we have a chance to forge a real peace, not just an absence of war. Meanwhile, Dr. Ilara Santos led a team of xenobiologists and ethicists in studying the liberated Kraxar. The process of undoing centuries of neural manipulation was painstaking, but crucial for understanding the full scope of Ion's influence. It's not just about reversing the physical changes, Ilara explained during a high-level briefing. The Kraxar's entire culture, their sense of self, was shaped by Ion. We're dealing with a species-wide identity crisis. As the Kraxar grappled with their newfound freedom, ripples of change spread across the galaxy. The revelation of Ion's existence and the potential of precursor technology sparked a new age of scientific and philosophical inquiry. Worlds that had once been bitter enemies found common ground in their shared hunger for knowledge. Joint research initiatives sprang up, pooling resources and expertise to unravel the mysteries left in Ion's wake. But not all reactions were positive. Some factions, particularly those who had been on the verge of accepting Ion's offer of ascension, felt cheated of a greater destiny. Underground movements formed, dedicated to recreating Ion's work and achieving the transcendence they believed humanity had been denied. Alina and Ilara found themselves working tirelessly to navigate this new landscape. The Admiral's tactical skills were put to the test as she helped coordinate efforts to track down remnants of Eon's technology and prevent it from falling into the wrong hands. Ilara, for her part, became a bridge between species. Her experiences in precursor space gave her unique insights, allowing her to facilitate understanding between the Kraxar and other races. It was grueling, often thankless work, but vital for building a lasting peace. Months turned into years, and gradually, a new galactic order began to take shape. The Kraxar, under the guidance of their own chosen leaders, began the long process of reintegration. Former enemies became cautious allies, united by the shared experience of nearly falling under Eon's sway. But even as progress was made, a sense of unfinished business lingered. The true nature of the precursors, and Eon's place among them, remained a mystery. Strange anomalies continued to appear in far-flung corners of the galaxy, echoes of ancient power that defied explanation. 5 years after the fall of Eon, Alina and Ilara found themselves once again aboard the Intrepid. The ship had been refitted, enhanced with reverse-engineered precursor tech, for a mission of exploration and discovery. As they prepared to venture into uncharted space, Alina addressed her crew. "We've faced the unknown before and emerged stronger," she said, her voice carrying the weight of hard-won wisdom. "Whatever we find out there, we face it together, not just as humans, but as part of a greater galactic community." Ilara stood by her side, her mind racing with the possibilities that awaited them. "We thought defeating Eon was the end of the story," she mused. But really, it was just the beginning. As the Intrepid engaged its quantum drive, disappearing in a flash of light, the two women shared a look of determination. They had changed the course of galactic history once before. Now, they were ready to shape its future. The stars beckoned, holding secrets and challenges yet unimagined. Humanity, the Kraxar, and all the species of the allied worlds stood poised on the brink of a new chapter. The war no one expected had ended, but the greatest adventure was just beginning. Echoes of eternity. The Intrepid glided through the cosmos, its quantum wake rippling across the fabric of space-time. Admiral Elena Vasquez stood on the bridge, her eyes fixed on the swirling vortex of a nearby nebula. 5 years of exploration had taken them to the farthest reaches of known space and beyond, each discovery bringing new wonders and fresh challenges. "Admiral," called out Lieutenant Zora Chen, her voice tinged with excitement. "We're picking up an anomalous energy signature. It matches the frequency of Eon's technology." Alina's heart raced, memories of their fateful encounter flooding back. "Alert Dr. Santos. Bring us in closer, but maintain safe distance." As they approached the source of the signal, a massive structure shimmered into view. Unlike the chaotic, ever-shifting form of Eon's hub, this construct was a perfect sphere of gleaming metal and pulsing energy. Ilara burst onto the bridge, her eyes wide as she took in the sight. "It's beautiful," she breathed, "and completely impossible by our understanding of physics." Before they could investigate further, the sphere pulsed with blinding light. When it faded, a holographic figure stood before them, not the unsettling, shifting form of Eon, but a being of serene grace and unmistakable power. "Greetings, children of the younger races," the entity spoke, its voice resonating with ancient wisdom. "I am Silos, guardian of the Nexus. You have done well to come this far." Elena stepped forward, her posture a mix of caution and curiosity. "We've encountered beings like you before. It didn't end well." Xylos nodded, a hint of sadness in its luminous eyes. Eon was but one of many, a fragment of a greater whole. In defeating it, you proved yourselves worthy of the truth. The hologram expanded, enveloping them in a cosmic tapestry. Stars and galaxies swirled around them as Hylos began to explain. The precursors were not a single race, but a collective of civilizations that achieved cosmic enlightenment. We seeded the galaxy with life, guiding evolution toward sentience. But we were not united in our methods. Images flashed before them, worlds uplifted, species engineered, conflicts spanning millennia. Some, like Eon, believed direct intervention was necessary. Others advocated for a hands-off approach. Our disagreements led to a schism that nearly tore the universe apart. Ilara's scientific mind raced with the implications. The cracks are, they were an experiment. One of many. Xylos confirmed. Eon sought to create a species that could be molded into perfect vessels for precursor consciousness. But in doing so, it lost sight of the very free will we sought to nurture. Elena's eyes narrowed. And now, what do you want from us? Stylos's form shimmered, its expression unreadable. We have watched your journey, seen how you united disparate species in the face of adversity. You stand at a crossroads, poised to take your place among the cosmic guardians. The implications were staggering. Ilara and Elena exchanged glances, years of shared experience allowing them to communicate volumes in a single look. You're offering us ascension, Ilara asked cautiously. Of a sort, Xylos replied. Not the false transcendence Eon promised, but a true evolution. The power to shape galaxies, to foster life across the cosmos. But the choice must be yours, all of yours. The hologram shifted, showing the allied worlds they'd left behind. Return to your people. Share what you have learned. When you are ready, truly ready, you will find us again. As suddenly as it had appeared, the sphere vanished, leaving the Intrepid alone in the vastness of space. For a long moment, silence reigned on the bridge. Finally, Elena spoke, her voice thick with emotion. Plot a course for home. We've got one hell of a report to make. The journey back was filled with intense debate and soul-searching. The crew of the Intrepid grappled with the weight of the knowledge they carried, the true history of the galaxy, the potential future that awaited them. As they approached Allied space, Ilara joined Elena on the observation deck. The familiar stars of home glimmered in the distance, a sight that now held new meaning. Do you think we're ready? Ilara asked softly. To become whatever it is Hylos is offering. Elena considered the question carefully. I don't know, she admitted. But I do know this. Whatever we decide, we'll do it together. Not just humanity, but all the species we fought alongside, learned from, grown with. Ilara nodded, a smile tugging at her lips. The war no one expected brought us together. Now we face a peace no one could have imagined. As the Intrepid entered the outskirts of Allied space, they knew the real work was just beginning. They carried with them the seeds of a new age, one of unity, discovery, and limitless potential. The stars stretched out before them, no longer a battlefield, but a canvas awaiting the brush of newly awakened cosmic artists. Whatever challenges lay ahead, they would face them not as separate species, but as a galactic family, bound by shared dreams and the unbreakable bonds forged in the crucible of an unexpected war. The end of one story had become the prologue to an even greater adventure. As they prepared to share their revelation with the Allies, Elena and Ilara stood tall, ready to guide their people into a future bright with the promise of eternity.